Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on the Ear to the Ground YouTube channel. My name is Greg Jones. I'm one of the co-editors of the site, and I'm finishing up a short series of videos on the music that we're looking for. What Americana are you looking for Ear to the Ground? Now, Americana is a really tough genre because it can stretch from, Woody Guthrie, This Land Is Your Land, to something more recent that is basically power rock, as far as I'm concerned. Uh, the fact that there are so many things that make up Americana makes it difficult to have any sort of category. What does it even mean? Is it a meaningless genre tag? Maybe so, but I'll tell you the specific kind of Americana that we're looking for. We want music, and those of you that have watched all of these videos are going to notice a common thread here. We want music that tells a story. It should pull in the listener. And that doesn't necessarily mean a straight narrative. It doesn't have to be a murder ballad to be good. It has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has to have a sensibility. It has to have an emotion and something that pulls in the listener so that when somebody presses play on this song, they don't have an incentive to click away. They want to know what happens next. So things like muffled lyrics or all these wild and wacky production decisions that make it hard for people to follow the story, that's probably going to get a no from us. We want things that pull the listener into a relatable storyline or a relatable lyrical concept. Some examples, I could go on and on about Americana music because there's a lot of it that we've covered over the last 10 years, but the first one I'll mention is sort of the gold standard for us, and that's Jason Isbell. Now, I know people have opinions on Jason Isbell across the board, from his music to his social media presence and all that. What I'm talking about is the music. Take his album Southeastern. It's one of the best albums to come out in recent memory. There are songs on there that you would say this is straight up country music, and there are songs on there that you would say this is straight up rock music, and there are songs in there that uh, are bluesy, that are whimsical, that are folksy, a little bit of all of those things, which is why for a lot of folks he falls into the category of Americana. It's the kind of new version of what used to be called alt country, and we're okay with that, right? We're okay with that. But that sound, that almost every song that Jason Isbell puts out has a good guitar line because he's a brilliant guitarist, but it also has memorable lyrics that stick with you and pull in the listener, right? So I don't mean to be a broken record, but I wanted to mention that. The next artist, and you know where this is going, right? Sturgill Simpson. Sturgill Simpson had those first couple albums that came out that were, people were saying it was like new outlaw country, that kind of thing. That is quintessential Americana for us. That is the kind of stuff that stands out from the crowd instantly. And there's been a wave of people who are making music that sounds like these guys, people who are not quite at the same level. But what made Sturgill Simpson so good when he first came out was that you could tell he had thrown a lot of music away. He had thrown a lot of music away to get to what was just his absolute best stuff. And it was informed by John Prine, who's another Americana like legend, and it was informed by classic rock, and it was informed by modern rock. He took those influences and molded them into something that people thought, oh, this sounds like Waylon Jennings or whoever else, and it was distinct. It stood out. You know that song that he had about uh, it's better than, like, what he was doing, being down on his luck was better than sitting in the middle of the desert in a tank. Just these kinds of lines that sort of hook you in there, that you can relate to. Uh, Advice to give your kids. You know, nobody writes songs about giving advice to your kids and telling them how to live their lives. Sturgill Simpson did it, both as advice that he got and advice he gave. These are the kinds of things that if you can write cleverly into a song so it doesn't feel like people are being browbeaten, but they can learn from it, whew, that is something else. And it's really difficult to do. But Sturgill Simpson is another one. We'll complete the trilogy here. Go ahead and say Tyler Childers is another one that has been an example for us. Again, combining rock, country, folk music, all of it together. I even appreciate Tyler Childers bringing in some bluegrass influences in several different instances. Uh, these guys are the reason that it's Americana is because they represent so much of America, and that's regionally and a variety of people who can embrace and relate to the principles. You know, when you hear Tyler Childers singing about drug addiction or about uh, running from the law in the mountains, and there's not a lot of regular people who are going to say, "Oh yeah, I can relate to that. I do that." But an awful lot of us have brothers and cousins and distant relatives who are living that life, who are living that life of poor decision making, basically. But the relatability, the accessibility harkens back to the classics, harkens back to uh, Hank Sr. and some of those other guys who sang about hard life and didn't romanticize country life. And they weren't necessarily glorifying it. They were just telling these stories about the rough things that people had to endure to survive, to try to get ahead in that salt of the earth, working class kind of way. And the last one I want to mention is a brand new artist who has featured on several of the playlists that I've put together, and her name is Olivia Ellen Lloyd. And Olivia is capturing the sentiment of the old school honky tonk, but doing it in 2021. And she's got a few songs that could stand with these guys. And it's all about that sort of comical self awareness at times, but also realizing, you know, people change, both other people as well as yourself, and being able to engage with those narratives, to know yourself, to make fun of yourself a little bit, and move forward from that. You know, it's hard to explain what it is that makes those lyrics pop so well, but they just resonate, right? They resonate and they stick with you when the song's done, the lyrical concept, but also you'll be humming the tune too. And that, I think, sort of encapsulates what I'm trying to get at with this video, with this message, is good Americana brings together a couple different classic genres. So maybe it's honky tonk country, maybe it's sad folk song, maybe it's rock and roll, maybe it's the blues, whatever different aspects it brings together. When it brings them together, it has to convey some deeper truth. And that could be an intellectual kind of thing, like the Milk Carton Kids, that are just heady and make you think about things you didn't even know you needed to think about. Or it could just be, you know, talking about a night that you got a little too drunk in it when it didn't end well. Okay, those are both relatable in their own kind of niche way. But to me, when Americana is full of riddles and you can't quite follow what the heck they're talking about, and the production is a little too wild, you don't really know why certain instruments were brought in. It feels like they're being avant garde just to be avant garde. That doesn't fit with Americana. That's a whole nother world. And Americana music should be rooted. It should have an accessible style and should and relatable lyrics. I feel like I've said it 100 times. So, anyways, thanks so much for checking out the video. Hopefully, if you are a fan of Americana music, you've checked out our coverage, check out our playlist. Hopefully, those things are enjoyable to you. If you have feedback, you want to recommend an artist or two, that'd be great. We do have a submission process if you're an artist and you want to send us your music, so go check out our submission tab on our website, which is eartothegroundmusic.co. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.